What's happening, guys? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. We have another Sunday video for December 11th and the week ahead. It's going to be short and sweet. My mom has COVID, so I've got to get home and give my sister a break, and hopefully she gets better relatively soon. But that's no fun. It's a pain in the butt, especially when your folks get older. So that's what my focus is this morning, so I will breeze through some of the topics. I would like to dive into them a little bit more. MLGO, there was just so much to go over. WBUY, so much to go over. And I think that we can go through in depth later in this week. I might do a video, but I'll just brush upon it, just kind of repeat. I would encourage everybody to go back through my tweets. None of this is hindsight. And that's what I want you guys to take away. I want you guys to take away the timestamps. You know, it's so easy, and I feel bad for the people that are always like trying to discredit or you know, do certain things to, you know, oh, that's a hindsight call or whatever. Look at the timestamps. Look at how the preparation was made and why. Look at the comparisons. Look at these situations and compare them to the last times. And if you can take that away and reverse engineer it and not always think that it's an I told you so or it's hindsight and all that kind of stuff, if you actually can take the time and look beyond just a chart. Sometimes I see comments and replies, they just look at the chart and like, well, what was he thinking? Why would he do this? Why would he do that? Read the chat logs. They're there ahead of time. And so if you can do that, you reverse engineer, you're going to be a lot more successful at this particular type of setup. So, for example, last week we had MLGO and we had GDHG. If those surprise you by any means that they dropped 80%, that's on you. So just like, you know, Lance might say, you know, take notes, Evernote, all these kind of things, save charts, things like that. No different than Sunday video. You know MLGO was on that list. You know GDHG was on that list. We know the fate of all of these trades eventually once we put them up as a potential liquidation trade. Anybody that watches Sunday video has at least a dozen, if not 20 names that at some point are going to have the same fate as every other one. MLGO and GDHG was no different. The difference is who actually keeps track of them. You should not be mad if you missed the trade if you're not familiar with them. But you should be mad that you missed the trade if you're familiar with them and you weren't keeping track of them. You know, kind of waiting for somebody else to tell you or waiting to see somebody else mention it. That's on you. You had all these symbols. You know the fate of them. So it's just a matter of time when the tape is different, when the exhaustion move comes, when the squeeze comes, and the bid drops. The day that it stays heavy, not the day that it just flushes down, traps everybody and ramps back up. Let everybody else chase those. There are still people that think that all the liquidation trades are the same and every single time they see a bid and it starts to go down, they're going to slam it, they're going to make 80%. Not the case. Most of the time they're going to end up getting squeezed. I steer clear of that. Anytime, you know, there's WhatsApp, Telegram pumps and all that kind of stuff and there's huge bids, if I participate, it is a very, very small size. I do not want any part of that because there's a good chance it could just swipe into a circuit halt, right? Anybody that fell for MSS, anybody that fell for EJH all the time, anybody that is too thick to get through their head that like, hey, times are different. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. You need to wait for more information. You got that information on MLGO, you got that information on GDHG, and you did not need to slam into the first candle. That's what you need to understand. And secondly, if you didn't know that they had the potential to go down 80%, that is on you because you did know if you paid attention. So those are the things that you need to reverse engineer. Those are the things that you need to pay attention to in order to excel at this style of trade. If this style of trade is not for you, then don't be upset about it. It's fine. You missed it and it's not your style of trade. Again, MLGO, I will dive into it in a big way, but unbelievable. Last week, both on the long side. You know, got a good piece of that on the long side out of the open. Both levels that I had given in the morning where it needed to hold over 450s and then have an imagination over 530s rather. And then straight up from there, then into the close. Doesn't matter how weak it is, doesn't matter how much they walk it down, shorts have not exited, in my opinion. Then it starts to break 9 and just goes straight up and doubles, right? Blows everybody out. Yeah, it would have been nice to go 20, 25, 30 the next morning, but we didn't get it. That's okay. We still had a partial black swan, right? $3, $4 to 20 on huge volume. And like I said, the difference between stocks like this, MLGO and VVOS, nobody is shorting 50 or 100,000 shares of VVOS and getting blown out and breaking accounts. MLGO, though, very easy to be short 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 shares, not be expecting a $10 move against you. Like VVOS, you got to kind of have it at least in your head that, like, you know, it could swipe at any moment $5 or $10. That should be expected based on the volume in the range off the open. But something like MLGO, you're not thinking 18 at $4 or 5 or 7, especially if it blows out to 10 and starts to fade off to 8. 19, 18, 19 is not in your thoughts. And then all of a sudden it is. And it's not whether or not it comes back down. You know, it's what if it doesn't? Then you lose all your money. So anyway, good opportunities. MLGO, you guys saw, I got short 1750s that next morning. But I was thinking it might hold. So I covered way too soon. I actually bought the flush. I was immediately up like $2.50 a share. Didn't take it because I was hoping for maybe one more circuit. But one of the most important things that I did, respected the plan. It didn't go as I thought. Got short and faded it the rest of the day. And I wanted to get short heavy at the 10 range, 10, 1050s versus that 11. And then look for the unwind throughout the day for the 80%. Original target was 5 to 7. Once it stayed heavy at 7, 6, I felt that at this point, it was a full liquidation day and we should go back to where it started, which was around the $2 level. We ended up going below it, but either way, fantastic opportunity. Same thing with GDHG, something to review. And again, I'll go into that in detail this week at some point once I have a little bit more time. Alt, fantastic opportunities as well. Again, just drawing those lines, just drawing 720. And I think the other one was like maybe 820 or something like that. I forget where we were this week, but beautiful setups. And you had the same setup twice. If you look at the first day on Thursday, we had a nice exhaustion move. And this should look like the failed follow-through setup that we literally go over every single Sunday. So again, this is why I go over these. If you can start to memorize this particular setup, you can start to make money, right? And the same thing, we had the same kind of situation set up right over here, right? And so if you were prepared, you've got a nice failed follow through right into the close on Friday. And completely unwound, beautiful opportunity, low risk, high reward. So again, same setup, nice failed follow through momentum, and then the same thing again on Friday. This is the point of Sunday video. You take it as I told you so, you learn nothing. You go back, reverse engineer it, see how you could have traded it better, memorize that setup. You have an opportunity the next week, the next days ahead because you've learned something. MLGO, we went over that. WBY, I'm going to go over this in depth as well. Right away, I compared WBUY to VSME. Right? And then it squeezed everybody out, slammed down. And when it was still, I think it was around like maybe $10, maybe $8, $7 at the time. I said, remember, VSME went and made new 52-week lows, right? $6 ago, $7 ago, right? At $7, $8. Now it's at $1. Huge downside still. Most people aren't thinking about, whoa, it can go even lower. But that's the difference. Where have you seen this before? So again, this isn't hindsight. This is a trade that I took. It was a trade that I prepared for ahead of time. Look at the timestamps, reverse engineer it, see how you can apply it to your trading belt. That's the point here. GDHD we went over. And then the last comments, the last things that I wanted to kind of review. And again, I know I'm flying through these things, but I don't have, a full day to go over this kind of stuff today. CLSK. CLSK is absolutely going nuts. But what I want you guys to see here is just like Mara, just like Riot, just like BITCF, all these names. If you guys haven't watched Chris's video on Anchor, on the anchoring kind of setups, BTC as, you know, your ship. That's the one that's going out to sea. And it's dragging all these other trades. BITCF, CLSK, Mara, Riot, okay? So as long as Bitcoin is going steady or grinding higher, if you're short bias on these things, you're going to get run over, right? That doesn't mean that there isn't going to be an opportunity in between here and there, but make sure you're a trader, right? If it starts to speed up, yeah, it's probably going to mean revert back to where it came from. But if you're sitting there and, you know, like, how's this continuing to go? Like, shouldn't it pull back? It's been running up. It is a sector/theme trade right now. So until Bitcoin pulls back and we have a 2,000, 3,000 pullback day, maybe even 1,000 would do it. They're building premium, and it's going to continue to go and go and go and go until Bitcoin pulls back. If Bitcoin goes to 45 or 50, guess what? These things are going to go and continue to squeeze higher. So none of it matters of what you think should happen. Just let the trade do what it's doing. Make sure you've got Bitcoin up if you're trading them. Two other things. Icon meals. I said that we're going to give away Icon meals this week. Purple Mango, as long as you're within the U.S., you've won the box of Icon meals. As you guys know, that's what I eat every single day. Todd has given me basically a box to give away every single month on here. And Purple Mango had some incredible takeaways and showed that, you know, he was taking notes. He was reverse engineering. He was learning. So I appreciate your comment. And again, as always, guys, leave your key takeaways. Leave some things that you'd like me to go over, dissect a little bit more in the comment section. And I always pick winners for t-shirts, Icon meals, and different things like that. And last but not least, before we get into a scan for the week ahead, if you guys didn't see last week, the Centerpoint deal, no commissions, first quarter. But the sooner you open this year, you can take advantage of that. So if you open tomorrow, you have free commissions the rest of 2023, plus the first quarter of 2024. That's a long time. So link is in the bio. Check it out. If you have any questions whatsoever, reach out. But let's get into scan for the week ahead. As always, I am not a financial advisor. These are not buy or sell recommendations, and this is for educational and informational purposes only. If you're looking to be told what to buy or sell, you're in the wrong spot. If you are looking to learn and understand what makes a good trade, what kind of puts things on radar, what would make me trade them, then you're in the right spot. But again, if you want to be told what to do, if you want your hand held, all that stuff, I'm sure there's people that will take your money, but we won't. All right. So, alt, you know, I'm having difficulty with this one as far as what I would think for the week ahead. It worked out extremely well. What happened on Thursday, I thought was going to happen on Friday, so I adjusted accordingly. Nice blowout. I think that there was a huge, you know, and I don't know too much about options, but I just feel like they had to blow out, you know, one side or another. But either way, I'd be looking for either a weak open, consolidate and head back up towards 7, or some sort of push towards 720s and fail. That would be ideal. But 680s was sort of a key level coming in on Friday on the breakdown. So first and foremost, I'd love to see 680 push and fade off. But if it starts to firm up, I would love to see it continue to grind. So people will say, well, you're not really picking away. No, I'm not. I need to wait to see more information on Monday. And I want to be prepared for both. If it gaps up, I'm looking to fade it versus particular levels, depending on how far it gaps up. If it gaps up 687, I want to push versus 720s. And we know 720s is a huge level. We know that for a couple days now. If it has a weak open and it flushes and it starts to come back, then I'm going to be looking for a long, just like I had on Thursday in the morning. CCL is just one that I am watching. It doesn't mean anything yet. I know Stan in the room is tracking it as well. Same thing with NCLH. You know, it's just like AFRM. We've got these major moves, and at some point we're going to have a nice day where they take a big profit, a lot of profit taking. But for now, huge bull run right now, and let them do its thing, and let's see what happens. MLGO, higher the better. Fantastic opportunity. This was just like BUI. So basically, the day after the liquidation, a lot of times what you'll see is they run it up pre-market. They exhaust it out, and what do you know? This setup should look familiar, right? We just went over it on alt. Hands down, clear trade, great opportunity, and we had the same situation happen on MLGO the day after the liquidation trade, which, again, it's not always the same. It's not always going to look the same, exactly, but you can see exactly how the morning pre-market squeeze out, comes back, and then fades. So it basically opens, runs towards the high in the morning, closes at the low. Same situation, a little bit different market, has a lot more history, but same overall concept. INTS, beautiful trade on Friday. You guys saw that. Got short into the blow-off move. Was pretty patient throughout most of the day, but then I didn't get any of the I didn't get anything later on in the day. So you can kind of see this level broke over here, and then you can kind of see that I think it was 820s, if I remember correctly. 820 as sort of that next level. You can see that it's kind of topping against that, comes back, clears out late day, and then just rejects. So in a perfect world, we get some sort of morning shove, maybe retest back into that 720, 750 level. Versus that 820 would be ideal. We'll see. But I just be cautious. This was a pretty easy fade. So shorts typically hold regardless of their position. So sometimes it might gap up a lot, squeeze out anybody that's like timid, and then start to fade back. But I'd love to see another opportunity and fade this one back to 5. If it starts to consolidate the next couple days, just be aware of a liquidity trap. Shot has been fantastic. This has been a very, very great trade off all big pops. 350s has been the level that they've been kind of supporting. I would imagine that they're trying to save a big PR to get it going and get some volume again. But I think that it's going to be held back by the fact that they need to file another shelf. So they bought a little bit of time when they pulled the shelf, but they're going to put a bigger shelf out there. So just be aware of that. But in my opinion, liquidity is now shot. The shorts have been, squeezed. They got the job done, and now at this point, it's probably just going to be a long road back down to where it came from. But I'm sure they're going to probably save one, big PR for the day that they want to file the shelf just to get some interest. SLDB, this one I went over. I would suggest on Twitter. It was not a trade that I took. But if you draw a line at 311, you can learn a lot. And you can go back through my tweet and see why. This top was 311. This top was about 311. This broke, and then it came back under, and it based at 311. So now the top became support, and then away it went. So be aware of that. That one is a hindsight. That one I did not trade, but there's a lot that you can learn because this is exactly what I go over on liquidity traps. Perfect liquidity trap. Positioning day over here. Consolidates, always holds higher lows, breaks over the prior resistance. Resistance becomes support, and then away she went. ALXO, ideally some action over here. Dips versus 12 would be ideal. CDT feels like a nice liquidity trap as well. It reminds me a lot of some of the other stuff that's been running lately. So, just be cautious. I'd love to see it kind of clear out the highs and then eventually, maybe come back in just like MNY did. So, this one I'm also watching for a potential CDT swipe. Chart looks like crap, but a lot of times they make it that way. They build it that way to make you think a certain way. And then guess what? They come and they surprise you just like on MLGO, right? Up, 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 up. Fade, 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 fade. Let shorts win. Crush the shorts. Last couple, CHSN. We know that this is a potential liquidation trade at some point, but that could be months away. So for now, if you are slamming in every time there's a big bid and it swipes into a circuit halt, that's on you. That's fine. If you do it with size, though, you can crush your account. But if you do it small size and you're okay with the fact that you might go into a circuit halt and lose $1 real fast, fine. It might have been worth it to get a small position. In the event you were right, you could start to add into, circuit halts. But that's up to you, and you need to know that answer yourself. SYRS. This one I'd be watching if 450 starts to build as a potential kind of liquidity trap and continuation trade. So that's about it for me. Good action all last week. Hopefully we continue to have some really good stuff. I posted a lot on Twitter last week, or X, and I would encourage you to go back and review GDHG, MLGO for sure. MLGO was a really, really good anticipation of that squeeze, and then an anticipation of the unwind. And most importantly, not being too biased in any one direction, right? That is the big key takeaway from that one. And then ALT is another big one. Understanding the flow, understanding what its where its support's coming in. And then WBUY and the VSME example. That was another one that I tweeted. All of which were ahead. So, these are things that you can anticipate. Truly, you can anticipate them. And I really want you guys to go back and just go through, see those charts, see those examples, see even how I traded them, WBUY and ALT and MLGO and GDHG. And, prepare yourself for next time. It doesn't matter if you missed them. It does matter if you wanted them, but you stopped, watching them. But if you missed them, so what? Prepare yourself for the next one so that you don't miss them. But that's it. I am going to head home now and take care of my mom and all that good stuff. So again, there's a lot more that I wanted to say, as far as these setups and stuff. But I will try to make a video for the week ahead for the folks at IU. And we also had a video Friday, and we've been putting in a bunch of different content from a bunch of different people. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Make sure you like it, you share it, leave a comment, and we'll see you tomorrow in the room.